Hello, what nuts, Humpty Dump Nuts, and Kate Up Nuts. It's Friday, May 17th in the United States, which means it's a Bauer Friday edition of What Chaos. Head to bauer.com/training to explore the full range of training gear like the digital reactor dangler for stick handling drills or the reactor slide board to help add strength to your stride. Use code FREESHIPWC for free shipping or visit a local Bauer retailer to get started today. He said Humpty Dump Nuts and Kate Up Nuts. I'm DJ Bean, that's Pete Blackburn, and that is Sean DePaz. Hi, boys.
Why are they Kate Up Nuts?
Because Chris Kreider's hat trick was a natural beauty.
Oh. Is Kate Upton?
Yeah, I was trying to think, like, who's like a natural beauty and whose name
Sydney
in
Sweeney
there
Nuts.
sounds like it could be turned into an ut sound.
I don't know.
Like, I was going to do Paul Rudd nuts, but no one sees Paul Rudd and they're like, wow, breathtaking.
Yeah, it's just the lack of aging for Paul Rudd. I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get a Scotty Scheffler joke.
Well, we're not doing Scotty Scheffler jokes because we're doing Scotty Scheffler talk this episode.
Are we?
Pete, somebody assaulted your beloved police.
That's right.
We're
Blue
not
Lives
gonna
Matter.
we're not gonna joke about hockey today or even talk about hockey when there's criminal activity happening in
This
sports.
show is 100% blue shirts and blue lives.
Can't we? No, we're not talking. We
Okay.
can't.
All right.
We're talking about what happened. That terrible man. And I would have loved to talk about hockey, catch up on the games that have happened the last.
It's fine. It wasn't
Day.
a big night anyway.
Can't do it. Got to talk and hold your. Let's see. So you would be, if I'm accusing you of being like a pro cops at all costs thing. So you would not like Scotty Scheffler.
No, yeah, because he put his hands on a police officer.
It is like politics
Respect the
aside
badge.
and jokes that like I retweeted something that I was like, oh man, now people who hate like quote unquote wokeness are gonna like text me being like pussy blah blah. I retweeted something that was like, he assaulted an officer and will make his tea time is the whitest thing that's ever happened. Politics, cops, all the whole thing aside, like that is 1,000,000% true. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. A guy was arrested for assaulting an officer.
Yeah, I don't think that he
didn't really.
It didn't look like he. I don't know for sure, but it didn't look like from the video that there was any assaulting a police officer. I think they were just like, we need to fucking get him for something. We're bringing him to jail. Did you watch Get Up this morning? I did not. So I did. You know what I did this morning? What? I rewatched the Canucks Oilers game. Stay on topic. Okay, I'm sorry. I turned on Get Up at 8 a.m. as I always do, and was like, "What?" it had all of like the like red flashing bar like breaking. Isn't that Scotty the best? Scheffler in custody, and I was like, "Who is he again? And what did he do?" Isn't it the best when you wake up and first thing in the morning, like whether it's on TV or on your phone, there's just some crazy shit that you wake up to, and you're like. Huh? Yeah. They had Jeff Darlington, who was like a NFL guy, but he was covering whatever tournament this was. One of my favorite things is when like a sports reporter and like a sports like insider somehow gets the scoop on another story completely outside of their purview. Like whenever like remember when Shams broke that Biden or Trump had COVID? That was annoying because he didn't. We wanted him to, and we joked about. We were like, "Oh, he got it first." Like he didn't. He just tweeted it when everybody else was tweeting it. But he kind of got there first.
No, he got there before a lot of like the rest of Twitter, but he didn't get there before the rest of news reporters.
I think Shams got the scoop.
That was a very Twitter thing, which is like the internet has decided this thing is happening, even if it's wrong. So we're just going to be like, oh my God, he got the scoop. I think I was like having fun with it, but he did not get the scoop. Maybe he saw, maybe like reporter friends were texting him and everything like, yo, Trump has COVID. He didn't fucking get it. Okay. Let's all fucking relax.
Score one for Shams.
I don't know. Shams. I don't know. I like Shams though. He just didn't have that. Jeff Darlington actually had.
Yeah, I know. On the scene.
On the scene video, cops coming up to him being like, why is everybody freaking out?
Why is Jeff Darlington at the PGA Championship?
He looks like a guy who would be at a golf thing. He's got that posture. He's got like that. He just looks, he's got that like Tom Giles golf thing about him. But we will talk a little bit of hockey on today's show, I suppose. It's game 6 tonight. Big one. Peter will be in the building. I wanted one of us to be in the building. Sean was my first choice. Jeff texted us being like, who wants to come to the game? I'm not doing it. Can't do it. Pete, you're going, bud.
I am. It's the first time all series I've been nervous. And I kind of already regret saying yes. Jeff texted us. Jeff texted me and you, excluded Sean, bad behavior. And he said, either one of you want to go to the game? I let you respond first because I knew that if I said yes, I would have been very nervous. And lo and behold, I am very nervous heading into game 6.
You know that's the 2010 NHL draft. You don't want the first overall pick. You don't want to decide between Hall and Sagan. You want
to have no choice.
You want someone else to make that pick for you and be like, whoever ends up being the better one, we're going to say we like that player best anyway. Classic Danny Ainge move. Oh, I was going to take Kevin Durant over Greg Oden.
Sure you were.
Sure you were, sweetie. But I'm glad that you're going. Brad Marchand's playing in this game.
According to Brad Marchand's mom.
Yes.
We got the scoop.
Lynn, my girl.
Not my girl. Insider.
I talked to her before.
I think I've talked to her before, too.
Really? Where?
The All-Star game. I was on a shuttle with the Marchand family.
How about that?
Very nice people.
Very nice people. An educator is Lynn. She was his teacher in school, in fact.
Did we? We lightly breezed past Marchand's quote yesterday about just wanting to kill everybody in the playoffs.
No,
we talked a lot about it on Felger and Maz.
Yeah, we can get to that today, though.
I think we got more stuff. But Brad Marchand's mom confirmed that he is playing. It'll basically confirm that he's playing. And here's the video.
How's your son doing?
He's doing good. He's good. He's pumped. He's ready for a big win tonight for the Bruins, and he's excited to get out there and extend this series.
What's this like for you as Brad's mom? You know, this is the big game. It's do or die, game 6 at the Garden.
It's nerve-wracking. They're all nerve-wracking, but especially a game 6, and could be an elimination game. It's always I'm full of anxiety, but I'm confident because I know the Bruins can do this.
Marchand family behavior grade this week. A+.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Rare A+ go to the Marchands. Good job, Lynn.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to be in there. We have Steve Peters coming on today. In all seriousness, I will acknowledge what happened last night. We're going to talk about the Oilers with Tyler Yaremchuk of Daily Faceoff and Oilers Nation.
Before we even move any further, worried? Not worried?
No. Oh, no. Seriously. Then that wasn't like I was like, what are you talking about? No, I'm not even thinking about being worried. I'm annoyed.
All right.
I'm officially annoyed.
All right, yeah.
I will say, I tweeted something last night after the game, which was like, I'm not worried, but I know I'm going to get mad. It's some of the dumbass takes I'm about to hear about this series. And then I just like hovered on Twitter for a few minutes. I was like, fucking say something. I want to go to bed angry. Make me more angry. And I look, because like my For You thing has just been all stuff from Canucks people and stuff about the series. I didn't really see any dumb, like, Canucks are fucking taking it to these guys, huh? Like, oh, like you all slept on the Canucks, but now look, no one's really doing that. So respect everybody. I think the people are seeing like, so what the fuck are the Oilers doing here? Which that's a fan thing that you do. Like Bruins fans do that all the time, which is like, if we weren't fucking up we'd be fucking sweeping their asses. But like for real, if the Oilers weren't fucking up, they would be sweeping.
I got
asses.
a question. Do you follow me on Twitter?
Yes, but I probably don't see your tweets because I follow you.
That's true. I did tweet last night. I was like, "Yo, Canucks are dogs."
Yeah, I think that you like the Canucks. Which
I do
I
like
respect.
the Canucks. I absolutely like the Canucks.
I don't take the Canucks are like really doing it, huh? Thing seriously, and I don't think you're doing that. But if you're saying, "Hey, come after me," I'm a man.
Basically,
I'm doing that.
I'm doing that.
Okay, well that's. I'm going to be your friend and I'm going to be respectful and I'm going to be like, awesome. Let's talk about something else. Let's not have that conversation go too deep because we'll get to Oilers stuff with Tyler, but like there are a few very simple, salient, clear things that are going on in this series. And I'm really happy for the Canucks. They are going to come out of this series being like, no one thought we were going to make the playoffs. And we took the Oilers to 7 games. What? Right. People thought that the Canucks were like going to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I think a lot of people were buying in on the Canucks.
Buying in. But that would be
I don't think people expected them to make it like a 30-point jump, but people thought that the Canucks could
I don't
make
think
the
they expected the Canucks to take the Oilers to 7 games, and that's what they've done. So I'm impressed with them for that. I'm very impressed with Rick Tocchet. I love Shelovs. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that I like out of this team. The old texty turnaround for Mr. Myers.
Miller.
Who fucking cares?
There is a Myers, though.
Okay.
We'll get to the Oilers a little bit later. Got to also talk about the New York Rangers, first team to punch their ticket to the conference finals. They beat the Carolina Hurricanes and do so in incredible fashion.
Big
nice
third
period comeback. Chris Kreider at the center of it. Is that a natural hat trick in the third period?
Mm-hmm.
And big comfort from behind victory for the New York Rangers, who are moving on to the Eastern Conference Final.
So the Rangers led the series 3-0. They were 20 minutes away from having to go to Game 7. They were down 2 goals entering the third period. Kreider comes out, natural hat trick, boom, that's over. Hurricanes had a lot of chances to close this game out. Hit some posts,
did they?
Dicked around. They didn't even play with their food. They were like mixing stuff up that you didn't even know if it was a sauce or what it was anymore. Their plate was absolutely gross by the end of last night. And that makes them, I tweeted last night, is it possible for a team to come back from 3-0 and be on fraud watch? The answer ended up being no, because they were such frauds that they didn't even end up coming back from 3-0.
I'm not going to say they're frauds. I just like... I want to talk with Petey about the Hurricanes and like what's in their DNA and what might be missing from their DNA. But like when you have that lead, that 3-1 lead in the third period, and you have so many chances to put the game away and you don't do it, like it's hard to really kind of evaluate where the team is at, because you can say one good bounce and they put that game away. One good bounce, they get a Game 7, and then anything can happen. But I feel like we're at the same fucking position with the Carolina Hurricanes every single spring, where you're having that conversation. You're saying the same things over and over again. Man, if they had one bounce, the series was close. The series was closer than maybe the scoreline would suggest. If they had good goaltending, they'd be moving on to the conference final. They'd be moving on to the Stanley Cup final. At some point, you run out of fucking excuses, and you run out of runway to keep making those same excuses over and over and over again.
Well, the goaltending has never been a thing there, and for around these parts, like there's complaints like, why do you pay 2 goalies? Why did the Bruins, for example, why were they so careful to make sure that they had goaltending? And why did they have this good prospect? Why did they go out and sign this guy? Blah, blah, blah. Teams with goaltending assume that every team has goaltending. They really fucking don't. And for as devalued as I would say the position has become in recent years, and you can see that just from contracts that have been handed out. We talked about how Bob was kind of the end of big free agent goalie contracts. Olmark after him, a different player, but like didn't get anything close to what he got, and he ended up winning the Vezina last year. Good or bad goaltending has sunk so many otherwise not good, great teams. The Hurricanes, great roster. They have the defensemen. They have the forwards, young and old, now that they got Gensel. Good mix on that roster. They were a good goaltender away from being in this series, going 7 games at least, or winning the series. Said a bunch of times. Game 1, Rangers, sure. Then after that, it was really, really close the rest of the way. Some coin flips, but when you don't have the goaltending, that coin, when you flip it, a lot of times is going to land the other way.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that this closes the book on Freddie Anderson, sad to say.
Has to.
It's just, you can't trust the guy.
Has to. Let's bring in our friend Steve Peters from PHNX. He is a longtime video review coach. He's been on with us. We know him from the PHNX Coyotes podcast. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing really well, and I know we're not going to get to disallowed goalies and goalie interference and all that shit, but my God, this is a horrible era to be a video coach in, because you don't know what the hell's going on in this playoffs.
Oh, that's such a good point. I mean, I want to start off by giving you an attaboy, because you, I consider, a pioneer of the anti-RVH nonsense from goalies who stay down even when the play is in front of them and allow horrible angle goals. Stu Skinner lost his job over it. We've seen throughout the playoffs it's happened, and it led to sometimes, like when Taylor Swift made that stupid song it was a stupid song, but it was pro-gay. So it was a good thing that happened, right? Henrik
Let's change it.
When he makes his big plea, when Henrik Lundqvist makes his big plea, that's great for your cause, bud.
People are listening, and here's the deal. I'm 5'10". Well, okay, I'm not. I'm 5'9". But I played goal in college. You went down. You had no chance. You have no chance. The problem I have is when you have 6'4" goaltenders getting beat over their shoulder. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Drives me absolutely insane. Jerry Cheevers had a 6-pack before he hit the ice, and he would make that save. I guarantee it every single time, because he's standing up. Stop going down. And I'm not going to blame the goalies. I'm blaming the goalie coaches that are coaching kids at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, going down on their knees. Drives me absolutely insane. Stop it. Just stop it. And that's why, honestly, and Canadians aren't going to want to hear this, that's why the Canadians don't have a dominant goaltender right now. That's why they're struggling to find out who's going to play for them in the Olympics. Aiden Hill, really? That's your guy?
Hey.
So, well, buddy, I'm concerned about where the
friend.
goaltending is going in North America. Stand up. That's why the Russian goalies are dominating right now in the NHL. Thanks,
That's
DJ,
fascinating.
for giving me a forum.
I didn't even think about it. Just that it can end up being a national thing.
Absolutely. Russian goalies are athletic. They don't get goalie coaching until they're much older because of the lack of goaltending coaches. So they learn to play the position by reaction, athleticism, and just, hey, I got to stop the puck. How am I going to do it? In North America,
Damn, did we freeze as well? Yeah.
Everything froze? No, I think we're good.
You're frozen when your heart's not open. Interesting.
I was very confused because you looked frozen. And
I was stunned.
I was it was tripping me out very much.
Okay, well, hopefully PD's internet comes back. Oh, I think he's...
I think we
got him?
might have him. It's interesting, though. He was basically saying that Canadian goalies are like the Berkeley kids of hockey players, where they just know too much and they're overtaught and they know everything.
They overthink it.
Sometimes you need a dummy out there.
Yeah.
We need to start doing reverse Wonderlic tests for goalies.
This guy's too smart.
Gotta be dumb.
How many goalies from Harvard in the NHL?
Oh. I don't know. But well, the reputation with Harvard is they're not as academic as they once were.
That's
so
true.
Maybe, are you saying that? Let's get some dumbasses out there?
Yeah.
So get the Harvard goalies?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Do we have PD again?
I think we should.
PD. Come on.
Oh, is it better? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're good.
Hard reset. We're good.
You're good. PD
Okay,
comes to us
good.
from Winnipeg.
Exactly. The internet's
He's
not
from
there yet.
the
by the
WPG
way.
office.
You got that Seth Jarvis McDonald's internet over there.
Yeah, we got the hamster wheel spinning in the back room here, just trying
Someone
to
in
get
the
it going.
chat said you said Russia too much.
Sorry, buddy.
So they cut you.
We have an automatic software that is.
Yeah,
You
I get
mentioned
it.
Russia a few times. You're fucking out. Sorry, bud.
Big Brother's watching.
I wanted to ask you this question: beyond the goaltending for the Carolina Hurricanes, is there a problem in the DNA that prevents them from getting over the hump year after year?
The biggest problem for them is they don't have their coach on the ice. They're missing a player like Rod Brindamore. They're missing a guy that has that heart. You guys talked about Brad Marchand a few minutes ago. The Boston Bruins have that guy. Chris Kreider carried the Rangers through on his all by himself yesterday. They don't have that in Carolina. They got some nice players, and they get that heart from their back end, but they don't have that guy. You look at Jordan Martinook, who's a guy that's a guts guy. He's a guy that digs in the corners. Unfortunately, Jordan Martinook's not the guy that's talented and skilled enough to bring you over that hump. I really believe that's what they're missing. Like Sebastian Aho, great player. But again, he's not the guy that's going to dig in the corners and start pushing guys around and get you through. Kachuk has it in Florida. I really think that's one of the pieces missing. And then you saw it yesterday against New York. This team is incredibly aggressive. They're aggressive all over the ice. They play man on man in all three zones. And when it works, you can't move. You can't breathe as an opponent. And the Rangers, they had them pinned against the wall for 2 periods. But when you play that man-on-man style and you get active, like you get Fox off the blue line, you get Schneider off the blue line, you get movement, you create space, you get offensive opportunities. And that's what happened to Carolina. And then they live and die by their aggressive play. And sometimes it's hard to continue that for 60 minutes.
How much of a believer are you in the New York Rangers, the first team to make the conference final?
It's funny. I battled with people all the time. I like the New York Rangers a lot. I have liked them for a long time. And we talked about goaltending. Shesterkin's got to be great. He's going to have to be great because if Florida gets over Boston, and we can talk about Boston in a minute, I think I like the Rangers against the Boston Bruins. I just think I like their style. I think they can play against the Boston Bruins. Florida could cause them trouble. Florida is so aggressive around the blue paint, and they get everybody driving the net. I think it's going to cause Shesterkin's some fits, and I also think it's going to give players like Jason Trouba time to sit in the penalty box and think about it, because I think he's going to be overly aggressive on those forwards getting to the blue paint. I like the Rangers. I like their mix. And most importantly, I like the way they defend and their defensive system. They're not man-on-man. They're zone inside the blue line in, and their defensemen are playing really, really well. Keandre Miller's coming out party this year. He's been outstanding. I think this Rangers team is for real. If they can continue to score, especially on the power play, I really like the Rangers.
Do you think the Canucks are for real? Because one thing that is irrefutably happening, and I know that you're not a Skinner guy and you've proven correct there, so mazel tov, but one thing that is happening is that Connor McDavid is being neutralized by Rick Tocchet, because Biz was on with us last week and he said, I don't want to get into it, but Rick Tocchet thinks that he has something with McDavid. And lo and behold, McDavid has been visible for one game this series. He's gone for the last 3 games with only 1 point. The only other time that's happened in his career was literally his first postseason series a million years ago against the Sharks. So do you believe in what the Canucks are doing, or is this just a McDavid's quiet and that's kind of it right now?
I think McDavid's it's a big problem, and he's a guy, if he's not scoring for the Edmonton Oilers, they're not winning. And I know Draisaitl's been great, and he's been able to add the offense for this team, but when McDavid gets frustrated, he disappears and he makes mistakes. And you could see it clearly. Last night is a great example of that. He's not playing with Draisaitl anymore. Draisaitl's with Kane, and Kane has now woken up and been the offensive leader now of the Edmonton Oilers. Surprise. But McDavid's frustrated. He doesn't have the room. He doesn't have the space. And you watch them play in their next game and watch how well they defend McDavid when McDavid is in the defensive zone. 200 feet from the net, you'll watch Vancouver have a player above McDavid, 200 feet away, because that's what you need to do. You have to defend him when he doesn't have the puck 200 feet from your net. And I think the Vancouver Canucks are doing an excellent job of that. And you could see the frustration of McDavid on the game-winning goal last night. I know people are hollering at McDavid on puck watching. He's not puck watching. He thinks Hyman has Miller driving the net, and he's going to make the offensive play. He wants to be the guy. But by wanting to be the guy, offensively, you make the mistake defensively. And I think if you can get McDavid off his game and get him frustrated, I think you have an advantage. And I won't pick on Pickard. Pickard's been good. I wish he had that high glove save on Soucy.
Yeah.
But I think he's been good. I don't think that's the problem with Edmonton. I just don't. I don't. And I'm not all in with Vancouver at all. I don't think they score enough. I don't think they're offensive enough. I don't think they get to the net hard enough. Edmonton can still win the series, but it's going to be getting McDavid back on track.
No, the Edmonton's going to win the series. That's
okay. Sorry, DJ.
But I'm happy for what I think we're kind of on the same page with Vancouver, where you kind of pat them on the head and you call them cute. But I do think that they should be pretty proud of what they've been able to do this year. I think the goaltending thing has been really fun for them. Dakota Joshua is going to get paid probably more than he should get paid. You mentioned Martinook before. Shout out a lot of, like, we're getting the group of players that these are our final days of getting to enjoy them before everyone starts calling them overpaid the rest of their careers. So, like, get it out while you can with Dakota Joshua right now. But I still feel good about the Oilers. We'll talk more Oilers later.
Well, I want to ask, who do you think the MVP of that series is so far? Because I think you could go in a number of different directions, but last night, JT Miller made a case.
But I like JT Miller a lot, and Pettersson's been absent for most of this series. I think he was great last night. I think he was effective. I think he was quick on pucks, and Pettersson was better. They need him to be better. I'm a huge JT Miller fan. I've liked Miller since he's been with the Rangers. I like his style of play. Those are the kind of players I like to root for. Not only can he provide offense, but he's got that grit. He can dig pucks out in the corner. And I think I'd like to see what his relationship is with Rick Tocchet. Like, I worked under Rick Tocchet, so I know what he's like to play under, and he can be a pain in the ass, and players can turn on him. But if you can find that switch for a player, and I think Tocchet has found it for Miller. And I think Miller is showing, oh, yeah, I'll show you, Coach Tocchet. I can still do this. Like, F you. Like, I can play. And I think that's what's given Miller that extra spark for this series, is he's trying to show Tocchet, hey, I can play, and I can prove it to you that I can play. And I think that's what's made a difference for him.
What's Tocchet like as a texter?
I was going to ask, how do you feel about the behavior of JT Miller texting his coach, being like, sorry, hand up, I've stunk.
No, you said that he texted him F you.
Yeah, but you want to. That's the way Rick Tocchet is. You want to please Rick Tocchet, but man, dude, he's scary. Like, legit scary. And I think that's one of the things that happened in Arizona. He wanted Arizona to be better, but guess what? When you looked on the bench, there is no Chris Letang, Sidney Crosby, or Benny Malkin in Arizona. And Keller's a nice player, but he's not Sidney Crosby, and you get frustrated. He gets to Vancouver, all of a sudden he can coach again. People here said, oh, he can't coach in Arizona. Can't go. Well, buddy, didn't have good players. Now you put him in Vancouver with guys that have some skill and some talent, and I think that's really shown what he can do as a coach. But you're right. There are going to be some head-to-head FU battles between some of those guys in the room, and Rick Tocchet, he welcomes it. He enjoys it, but he will say this: if you're going to come at me, bring your bullets, bring your ammunition, because don't just whine to me. Give me a reason why and tell me what's going on. And so, and I think JT Miller's that kind of guy.
Your video breakdowns are fantastic. Everybody, if you're not following PD on Twitter, please do so. But I do believe anybody who listens to our show loves your work and follows you on Twitter. But if you were to do one of those videos on Evan Bouchard last night on the Phil DiGiuseppe goal, I would not watch it. I would mute it and I would swear over it. But what would you say on that video?
Here's the problem with Bouchard right now. And I think he's trying to do too much. And I think that's part of
like
a
play
problem
defense,
for Bouchard. Yeah. It is. He wants the puck. He wants the puck and wants to move the puck up the ice. And you're going to see Evan Bouchard is going to be a big problem in the game-winning goal against Miller, too, because that video, as you talked about, it will actually be coming out right after this show.
So you are fucking making that?
Hell yeah.
Are you really making that video?
Yes. But we're going to look at
it.
Bouchard later. We're going to look at little Bouchard videos later today. So I do think what's important about watching the game of hockey is people get so focused on what happens the 1 second before a goal goes in. And we go back to McDavid on the game-winning goal. I heard on the broadcast, McDavid's puck watching. Buddy, that is so far from what caused this play to break down. But to me, it's a bad line change from Ekholm to Nurse. Nurse jumps on the ice, and I'll show you. Nurse was holding his stick halfway up the shaft with under a minute to go in a big game. What the fuck? Be ready. Like, you better be ready when you jump on the ice, and he wasn't. So that play, to me, now he doesn't go at Lindholm. He goes to the front of the net. Well, nobody goes to Lindholm. Lindholm has time. And that's how the play happens. It's not because of McDavid. It's because of other plays that led up to it. So I think that one of the things I'm trying to do to people is look at other things going on. It's always, don't just look at the puck. Try to see other things that are happening in your periphery. So, and unfortunately today, Bouchard's going to get caught on that because he's with Lindholm, and then there's some confusion between the exchange between him and Nurse. And that's really where it starts to break down. So I hope people can start looking at the bigger picture, and I just want people to be fans of the sport. And I know both you guys have a team to root for. Unfortunately, mine was the Minnesota North Stars, and they left back in the 90s with Mike Modano, so I can't root for the Stars because they stole my team. And the Coyotes, you kind of know what happened to them.
An understated part of that game-winning goal last night, Elias Pettersson redirecting the puck with his skate. What do you think of Pettersson's game? Obviously, there's a ton of pressure and heat on him.
He's better. He's a guy that I would thought would have a tough time under Tocchet's system. Tocchet's a hard-nosed, hard-nosed, get in the corner kind of guy. Pettersson's not that player. Pettersson's a high-skill, float around, dance around kind of guy, and he can't play that with Rick Tocchet because he won't play. And you saw him last night. Finally, I thought Pettersson dug in last night. I know he took that penalty, which I don't like. I thought it was a bad call charging, but dude's standing still. Like, buddy, it's the National Hockey League. That was a bad call, but there's a lot of bad calls in this playoffs, but that's a whole other story.
That was a weird instance because, like,
horrific.
by letter of the law, it was definitely charging, but
Because
like
his
that
feet were
never
up in the
gets
air.
Oh my
I know.
fucking god! We gotta get to another guest in a few minutes, but
Yeah,
I
no,
could spend
gotta go to
25
Edmonton.
guest minutes, PD, on everybody who was like charging. What do you mean? You can't fucking jump into an opponent.
jump.
That is
I
charging.
know. Do you think that's a good call in a playoff game at that time?
I think no, but our
It
friend
is
Mike
charging
Felger does this with
by
football
rule
stuff. When
of the
people
law.
will complain
You're
about
right.
calls, and it's like maybe you're upset about what the rule is, but that's what the
Yes,
rule
that's
is,
fair.
and the player
right.
knows you can't jump into an opponent. It's stupid. It's stupid, but that's what the rule is.
Yeah, and he's probably afraid, to be honest. Like, if a guy coming at him and Pettersson's not the big tough guy, he's probably afraid. And goes, oh, shit, I'm going to... And I think that's more fear than anything with Pettersson. And you're right. I apologize.
agree.
I apologize to the referees. He did jump and his feet were off the ice, and that's wrong. I will talk goaltender interference with both of you because that's another topic because those calls are both wrong. So
You thought they were
we'll do
both
that
wrong? Wait,
another day.
you thought
Both of them.
they were both goaltender interference?
Yes.
Yes.
Both
Thank
of them.
You, thank you. Thank you.
You,
Talk
you
to
don't
every
think that,
fucking
you don't
video
think
guy in the
that Bob had time to reset?
No. No, he doesn't.
And that's also up to us.
His foot moving that much, and I tell you what, because I called video guys on this, because these are the guys that are actually making the calls. And when the league started this bullshit, and Gary Bettman came in and he said to the video guys, and I swear to God he said this, we can swear here, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
and this is
Buddy,
true.
let
Gary
her
Bettman
rip.
got up in front of every video coach and said, "Don't make the call unless it's dead fucking wrong." He said, unless it's dead fucking wrong. So we did a video thing and we showed clips, yes or no, are they? And it was almost everyone's almost 50-50. I have talked to, I count, not countless because I could count them, but I don't count past 10. The video guys, everybody said these are goalie interference. Both of them. The pushing in and the moving of the foot of Bobrovsky are both goalie interference. Every guy would have made that call. And the guys that did make that call go, I don't know how we didn't get him right. So, yes, I don't think Bobrovsky has enough time to reset on that play. But again, it goes down to now, I have heard that the league was very unhappy with the first call, the Boston call. And because
you
I do
don't
think
say.
there was-
Oh, hi, Sean.
Yeah.
So we'll have to make
the
this the last
cross-checking
one,
in.
but do you believe in
so
makeup
keep an eye.
calls?
Yeah, of course I do.
Okay.
100%. Whether it's subliminal or not, yes, they absolutely happen. You don't think that happened in the game last night where I forgot the call even, where they go, oh, that should have been a call, and 5 minutes later somebody in the penalty box and they go, oh, okay, now it's okay because that penalty was not called? Absolutely, they make up calls. I know you got to get to Edmonton. Ask him if he enjoys Sherlock Holmes. I watch the Bruins. I don't know. All I got to say, Pete, is they better defend the blue paint better than they've been doing. And I tell you, with Marchand coming back in, I think that's huge. Whether he can put the kind of minutes he's been playing, that could help them get over the hump. And the last thing for the Boston Bruins tonight is Charlie McAvoy has to be the best player on the ice tonight. If he is their best player and he's attacking off the Russian, attacking off the blue line, I think the Boston Bruins.
There's positive momentum there.
There is
so.
big momentum, we believe,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yep.
Petey, you're the best. We want to do so many more things with you.
Yeah, can you
and
move to
hopefully-
Boston and just like be the third person on the show? Jesus
I'm going to stay
Christ.
with Sean and take care of his cat. I mean,
There you
I
go.
can't wait. Let's
Yes.
go.
All right, Petey. Well, hopefully everyone's following him and enjoying his videos. I'm going to miss the one that you put out today. Unfortunately, got a lot
skip
of things to get to. But thank you very much, Petey. We'll talk to you soon.
See you guys. Thanks for having me, guys. Talk soon.
As I mentioned, today is a Bauer Friday. You see that we're all draped in Bauer. It's very nice. Are you looking for new ways to dominate on the ice? Bauer is here to give you an assist by being the go-to destination for your training needs. Whether you're an elite skater or a rookie in rec league, these training tools are built to help you become the player you've always wanted to be. Head to Bauer.com/training to explore the full range of training gear like the digital reactor dangler for stick handling drills or the reactor slide board to help add strength to your stride. Use code FREESHIP WC for free shipping or visit a local Bauer retailer to get started today.
Also, today's episode, our friends at Prize Picks, the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. We love Prize Picks. We love to 10X. Haven't done it in a while. Haven't successfully done it in a while.
We tried.
But we try. And that's the fun of it. Sometimes you win. A lot of the times
It's a Bauer
you lose.
Friday and a Prize Picks Try Day.
That's right. It is the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, gross, you pick more than, or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and let the winnings roll in. Prize Picks has something for every sports fan, whether it's basketball, hockey, League of Legends, everything in between. You can pick LeBron. You can pick Caitlin Clark.
You can pick Scotty Scheffler, which they have already updated with his mugshot.
No way.
On Prize
That's
Picks. They
good
already have his
behavior.
mugshot.
What?
That's awesome.
I
That's hilarious.
I saw Ben Volen, who I love. I'm always a Ben Volen defender, but he tweeted out like, man, what would have happened if Jeff Darlington weren't in the right place at the right time? And he put out Scotty Scheffler's mugshot, and I was like, Darlington didn't take that. That was from the cops. Continue.
Yeah, I think that was a police station thing. Prize Picks now offers Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. So they literally make it as easy as you could possibly want. We love them. We play Prize Picks basically every single day. So if you want to join us, go to prizepicks.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
All right, making his debut on the show is our friend Tyler Yaremchuk from such places as OilersNation and Daily Faceoff. And Tyler, we've had some check-ins throughout the season. They're typically fun. We dick around about Gene, and we talk about how nice it is to be an Oilers fan. Let's just do the same thing. How cool is it to be an Oilers? No, I'm just kidding. How do you feel?
Oh, I want to die.
Nice.
I'm mildly hungover. I've already been working for 3 hours, and it's 10:30 Mountain Time. The Oilers stink. Everything sucks. They're losing the Canucks. I don't know, man. Like, if they were, I wouldn't even be this upset if they were like losing to the Stars. I'd be like, whatever. The Stars are a good team. It's the Canucks, and I hate their fan base. Everything about this series has driven me nuts, because if the Oilers would have gotten not even good goaltending, not even average goaltending, if they would have gotten just like normal bad goaltending, they would have swept this series. And now they're getting goaltending, and their offense is just kind of like, we're just gonna stop trying. They had one shot in like 16 minutes of the second period yesterday. Last night was one of the most embarrassing efforts of the season for the Edmonton Oilers. And if it wasn't for Calvin Pickard, they probably lose that game 6-2. And if you would have played this clip back to me at the start of the playoffs of me saying Calvin Pickard has saved the day and made it not as bad of a night, I honestly don't know if I would have watched a single playoff game. I would have been like, if that's the path I'm heading down, I'm just gonna hang her up. I'm gonna take a couple weeks off work and go golfing. It's ridiculous, man. Everything about this run is ridiculous.
Well, I think your general vibe answers this question, but I'll ask it anyway. DJ is on full not worried meter. Where are you at on the worry meter for the Edmonton Oilers?
I'm not worried about game 6, but I'm worried about a potential game 7 back at Rogers in Vancouver. Like, I'm generally an optimistic guy when it comes to this team. And I do think like the story of, Saturday night, back at home, season on the line, I think we'll finally see an A to A+ effort from this Oilers group, which we quite frankly haven't seen yet in this series. So I do think that's coming here on Saturday, but there's just something, for whatever reason, about playing in Vancouver that the Oilers don't do well with. They were bad there in the regular season. I know they got the one overtime win so far in this series that they snuck out, but other than that, like, going back a number of years, it's been nothing but bad when the Oilers go to Vancouver. So I'm not worried about game 6. And maybe I shouldn't look ahead with what this Oilers team has done to me over the last number of years, but I feel like we're going to see a good effort from them in game 6. Coin flip of a game 7, though.
Yeah, I'm not worried. This is one of the series, unlike Boston, Florida. I keep saying with Boston, Florida, it's a rare series in which the better team has won every game. The better team hasn't won every game in this series. The Oilers, if you watch, have looked like the better team. Stuart Skinner legitimately lost them game 3. And like when you talk about goaltending, like, oh, you need better, like, rarely does a goalie actually lose you a game. And they had their goalie lose them one of the games. Other than that, like, look at all the metrics, expected goals for, Corsi, like everything. The Oilers have carried the play. And yes, there have been long stretches where they've just gone silent offensively, but if both teams show up, do their best, the Oilers win both of these games kind of easily. I like Pickard so far, but I don't even really care about the goaltending. All the goaltending needs to be is pretty bad, as you said, and they've gotten average goaltending out of Pickard, so I'm not worried about them.
Do you think the Oilers were the better team last night? They weren't.
No, they weren't.
No.
They were not. You don't have to think about it that hard. They were not the better team last night.
They were terrible on the power play. I mean, they drew five. They drew 5 penalties, and they didn't
three of
score
which
on
came
any
in
of
the
them.
first period. The Canucks
came out very sloppy.
Period.
Canucks, so that's why I was thinking. I was like, the Canucks were like dead for the first 22 minutes of the game,
They
and
were
then
hanging
the
on
teams
in the
played
first
actual
period.
hockey, and the Oilers sucked for a lot of it. So yeah, I agree with you. The Canucks were probably the better team last night, but if both teams are at their best, doing the best they can, and the Oilers have Henrique back and they're at home, it's really not a bit. It's really not a bit. As long as the Oilers aren't assholes, which they've been at points this series, they should be fine. Are you worried about the power play though? Because that was I was kind of taken aback by how bad it was last night.
Yeah, I was watching the game with my Owen Everyday co-host Liam, who I know you guys had on last week, and he's great. And the Oilers got that power play when they were up 1-0, and I turned to him and I was like, this is a sneaky big moment in this hockey game. Like, if you can go up 2-0 right now, and I wrote about it yesterday too, I was like, you need to go out and crush the spirit of this Canucks team early on and let them know that like you're not messing around anymore. If you're Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and the Edmonton Oilers. And then that first power play didn't go their way. They had some good looks, but again, they don't bury anything. First time in this series they've missed on their first power play attempt of the game, which is a crazy stat. They end up going whatever it is, 0 for 5, 0 for 6. One of them was the weird 14-second penalty where they called Zach Hyman on just a terrible, terrible holding call that negated it. So really it's more like an 0 for 4. I'm not super worried about it. Their power play also historically in the last 2 seasons has been way better at home versus on the road. So coming back to Rogers Place, I'm not worried that they can get a big power play goal or two, but I'll circle back to my first answer. If this thing shifts back to Vancouver, which I expect it will, then I'm back to worry mode. So I don't know. It's a weird headspace I'm in right now because I'm so pissed off about last night, and I'm pissed off about the power play, and I'm pissed off about Evan Bouchard, and I'm pissed off about a whole bunch of things. But then I'm like, this series is going to go 7. But then I'm like, oh shit, this thing's going 7 at Rogers Arena in Vancouver. That's not good. So I don't know, man. I'm a roller coaster. I'm a mess.
I just pulled up to answer your question, or to further answer your question. I just pulled up the metrics on Natural Stat Trick, and it really was like very close. It was like the Canucks, I think, were a little better.
The Canucks killed in the second period, and that just turned the game around. And I think the one stat that you look at from last night's game when you say, holy shit.
Corsi was 50-50.
When you look at the stats, the one stat that you look at is 35 shots on net for the Vancouver Canucks, because the Vancouver Canucks do not generate that many shots. Like, they rarely ever go over 25 shots a game. So like, that to me shows that the Canucks played a really, really strong offensive game, and the Oilers didn't do enough defensively. You mentioned the weird stat thing for the power play and it being the first time that they haven't scored on their first power play opportunity. Here's another weird stat. The teams that have scored first in this series are now 1-4. So the key for the Oilers in Game 6 might be just to fucking suck out of the gate and give up the first goal.
I love them so much for that.
It is chaos, honestly. And they went up 1-0 yesterday, and they flashed up the stat that the team who scored first was 1-3. And the best way to argue against anything like that, a stat like that, is you just go, well, it's due for the other way, right? It's like when you walk up to a roulette table and it's black 8 times in a row. It's still 50-50 the next spin, but I'm betting red on the next spin, because what are the odds that it's, black for a 9th straight time? So that's where I'm at with that one. If the Oilers score first next game, I'll hop on Twitter and say, team that scores first is due for a win in this series. And if Vancouver scores first, I'll hop on Twitter and say, come on, team that scores first always loses this. That's the kind of fan I'll be on Saturday night.
Can we talk about Evan Bouchard? Because I love Evan Bouchard, and we all love Evan Bouchard, and we are all supposed to get so mad whenever people talk about his play in the defensive zone. He lost them the game last night. Evan Bouchard lost them the game last night on that DiGiuseppe goal. You cannot, with a backup goaltender in net, be that soft off the puck.
He didn't lose them the game because they should have scored 4 goals last night and won that game 4-3.
Yeah, so you can blame the offense as well.
I'm blaming the offense as well. Again, Arthur Seelop's totally a fine goalie, probably going to have a nice career in the NHL. But there have been a lot of shots on this guy where it hits his glove and sprinkles right in front of him, or he doesn't control the rebound. And the Oilers just aren't going to the net. Most of their, I shouldn't say most of their shots, it's something like 40% of their shots in this series have come from their defensemen, not even their forwards. To me, that's a sign you're not going to the net. You're not picking up second opportunities. So yes, the Bouchard thing, very, very frustrating. I also thought at first glance, I was like, wait, that's offside. The Oilers are going to get away with one there. So that was frustrating as well. But
good moment for the refs.
Yeah, that was a
good moment. Hey, if we're going to complain about them.
Yeah, they got that one right.
They got that. And they saved. The Oilers could have lost the game right there and there, then and there, because they could have challenged that.
Yeah, I was going to say,
and then
credit
given
to
up.
Chris Knobloch, too, for not challenging.
Well, I think that, like, you have to think, what are the odds that the ref would be that adamant, like, in the moment? So as long as anybody on the bench saw the ref, they'd be like, we probably don't want to challenge it. That guy seemed pretty sure.
Well, I think if you're moving forward with the presumption, like, hey, the ref might have saw it and got it right.
No, not might have. Like, he was.
You're
like,
going to be wrong most of the time in these playoffs.
Yeah, that's fair. But they're typically not that emphatic about it. Back to Bouchard, though, is it a problem that, like, that is their second best defenseman, and obviously he's not there for his defense, but Ekholm is getting crushed. Even right before that play, he took another hit. If you're expecting anything big from Bouchard in his own zone, are you in trouble if you're the Oilers?
Here's where my concern kind of is, because, yeah, that was a gnarly turnover by Bouchard, and you don't want your top pairing right shot D-man, the guy who is the best puck mover on that blue line by a mile. You don't want him making that mistake. You can't have him making that mistake. And what worries me about what I saw from the Canucks last night is I think they maybe figured out that if they ramp up the forecheck a little bit harder, like we saw them at points in the first 4 games of that series, kind of be okay hanging back a little bit and not playing a full 1-3-1 like the LA Kings, but just saying, hey, we're just going to not make any mistakes and we're going to keep the Oilers to the outside and we'll give them the first pass coming out of their own end. But, we're not going to give them any odd man rushes. Last night, it felt like they figured out, hey, if we crank up the intensity, this Oilers blue line will make a lot of mistakes with the puck. They will make a lot of mistakes on their puck retrievals. Cody Ceci is a dumpster fire. Darnell Nurse is good at the best of times, but he's prone to some bad mistakes. Vinny Desharnais is not a great puck mover. Matthias Ekholm is under the weather and banged up. I think he's dealing with a whole bunch of things. And Evan Bouchard is prone to just these awful brain cramps. And that's maybe one area to be concerned with from an Oilers perspective going into Game 6 is if Vancouver keeps up that ferocious forecheck and that physicality, I don't think the Oilers blue line is going to magically stop making these kinds of mistakes. I think it'll just be a matter of time until they make the next one. So that's one thing Vancouver seems to have figured out.
Yeah, that's a good point. That was definitely their most aggressive game of the series, and I think it paid dividends. And you can see it again, like on the shot counter, like that was the most aggressive game that they may have played all playoffs. So maybe they stick to that. Let me ask you this. We've talked about this a little bit this week. If I know you don't want to think about it, but if the Oilers lose this series, will you feel like you fucking wasted your entire time this season? Because like if nobody has watched an Oilers game this season and they were to predict the demise of the Edmonton Oilers, they would retread the same things over, like bad goaltending, bad defensive play. The Stars went a little quiet, and they rely too much on the front of their lineup and on their power play. And all of those things probably will be the reason why the Oilers lose this series. So would it be extremely frustrating to have the same things pop up over and over again?
Absolutely. Like, to me, the two big ones, and it's what's killed them in basically back-to-back playoff runs, it's depth scoring and it's goaltending. You can go back to the Western Conference Final against Colorado. It was a thing. You can go back to the second round loss last year against Vegas. Those were the two things that absolutely crippled them. And what's frustrating is you sit there through the regular season, and from December on, basically onward, Stuart Skinner was a top 5, top 3 goalie in the NHL by kind of the basic stats out there. He was lights out, and you're sitting there going, okay, he struggled in the playoffs last year, but he was a 24, 25-year-old, whatever he was, and it was his first playoff experience, his first year being an NHL goalie, let alone a bulk, legit 55-plus game NHL starter. It was like, okay, he learned his lessons and he kind of figured it out here. So I have no concerns about the goaltending. That's what I'm thinking going through the regular season. And then you look at the offense and the depth scoring. Corey Perry scored at a near 20-goal pace since coming over to the Oilers. Ryan McLeod was, a 15-goal guy and got hot for some stretches. Warren Foegele was a 20-goal guy. And you're going, okay, they finally have a third line that can go and do something and not just break even or hang on by a thread, but they can go outscore the other team on a consistent basis. And those things happened consistently in the final 55 games of the regular season. And how we get to the playoffs and Warren Foegele just turns off his brain and Ryan McLeod is scared of his own shadow and Corey Perry doesn't look, it was his 39th birthday yesterday. He looks like he's 79 years old right now. That's the
Joe
cardio
Pavelski
line.
voice.
Maybe he has Ozempic face.
Yeah. Jesus. But they're terrible, man. Like, we joked with McLeod and Foegele. When they're bad, we call them the cardio line. Corey Perry is not, he's on the cardio line, but he doesn't move. He's the 80-year-old mall walker at 8 a.m. on a Saturday, just kind of leisurely strolling around, not doing much. It's brutal, man. The fact that, again, these areas that have sunk them in years past were good in the regular season, and now it's just the same old story. Like, what do you even do? I don't know.
Well, I can tell you what's going to happen is you are going to message me a link to those lights that you have in the background of your shot, because you have the cleanest, nicest shot I've ever seen in my life, and I would like to steal that from you. The way that when we have to crop it, it looks like there's a nice little glow behind you. It looks like you're getting a portrait taken.
I was going to say, it looks like a school picture. Like, it looks
very good.
You're in picture day right now with the way that that's cropped. And then we got the full shot. And I was like, oh, I get it. Okay. I thought it was like a fake background. Good for you.
It's so good it looks fake. Kind of like the Oilers. Or they're fake, though.
Yeah, you had to go there. You're right, Pete. It does kind of look like I have just the generic baby blue background. It would be good for a green screen. Maybe I can do something ridiculous next time I'm on with you guys.
There you go.
Oilers and ridiculous are not often said in the same sentence, but I suppose we could be imaginative there. All right, we'll have you on probably at some point. Let's say after like game 2 or 3. What do you think the series is going to be through 3 games next round?
2-1 Oilers.
2-1.
Depends how good Vancouver plays to start the series.
Shut up, Pete.
Vancouver will not win. Vancouver would get swept against the Stars.
So I feel bad because I feel like you're forcing me into a corner where I have to become a Canucks fan because you're so outrageously optimistic and
not optimistic, just
obnoxious,
not being
arrogant.
So at any point have I been like, Oilers #1, baby, blah? I think they're going to win the series. I don't think the Canucks are going to win the series. That's not obnoxious. It's just believing what I believe.
Sean, can we get a?
Everyone's so woke these days that when someone thinks anything different from them, there's got to be a problem with them, and you've got to take the other side. I think that we should all just be nice to each other. Sean, you're a political guy.
No comment.
No one wants to support oil in 2024, man. It's a shame.
What a nice little chat we just had here. All right, Tyler, we'll keep up with you. And if anybody doesn't subscribe to everything Tyler puts out, Oilers Nation every day is my favorite. I take it in. I love you, Liam, the whole gang. Zach Cassian was on with you guys this week. I was on with you guys this week. What more could you want?
Yeah, Oilers Nation. Hit the subscribe button there. Appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks.
All right, bye, pal. Thank you. Let's get to a slate grade. There are 2 games this evening. The Panthers visit the Bruins for Game 6. Florida leads that series 3-2, 10 p.m. U.S. The Stars will visit the Avalanche for Game 6. Dallas, of course, leading that series 3-2. Pete will be in the building for Boston, Florida.
It will be my fault if the Bruins lose. I am like 0-4, I think, in my last 4 Bruins playoff games.
Don't put that on yourself. None of us are that important.
I'm not putting it on myself, but I know that everybody else will put it on me. So I'm giving you permission to fucking blame me if the Bruins, who are the worst team in this series, end up losing the game tonight.
We have a Bauer Rankings coming up where I think it's going to be very heavily shit that hockey fans do based. And that's a thing that you could add to the list of like, oh, well, I guess you can't go to games anymore. I fucking paid money, you loser.
Yeah, I'm not allowing anybody to tell me when I cannot go to games, but I do recognize
Pete's body.
I do recognize as a superstitious person that things have not gone well for me, but all streaks are meant to be ended.
I like the Bruins in this game. I don't know if I like the Avalanche, however. I think that Dallas could wrap it up on the road. I think that Boston can force a game 7. That's my. I don't know if I've been right or wrong on stuff recently. I took a victory lap on some stuff I was right about earlier this week.
I'll give you some credit. You gave last night's slate an A, and that was a
good
strong, emphatic A, and I think we needed it.
I did not turn on the computer for streaming purposes, even in the final minute of that game. I was like, this game is not going to overtime. Also called that.
Yep. I did want to mention too, we've had the discussion during this round that when the Bruins and Oilers play on the same night, which they're separated, they're not playing on the same night, it has been really difficult to focus on the Canucks Oilers games just because of like the emotional highs and lows that come after the Bruins game. So I don't know if like other people have struggled with that, but man, I really wish that there was like a hour or 2 hour buffer in between the first game of the night and the second game of the night. We got to start playing these first games of the night at like 6 p.m. so I can decompress and just like sit with my feelings before the second game starts.
Yeah, I felt that on Sunday night where I was still, I think, reacting to game 4 of Boston, Florida, like a period into Edmonton, Vancouver. And as you said, it's broken up and gone away now, but last night I got a reverse case of it where I'm watching this great Hurricanes-Rangers game, and it took until like halfway through the second period to really Sebastian Aho myself and lock in, because I was like, oh my God, there's an Oilers game tonight. I'm so like, they don't need to go up 3-2. I was so excited.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what though? Maybe we'll miss it because these are the final days of doubling up. Yep. But I'm ready. I'm ready for it to go to one game a night. I really enjoyed Wednesday, having just Dallas Avalanche and watching a little hockey, getting a little shut-eye. Didn't mind it at all. Do we want to do Bauer rankings?
Let's do. Wait, you didn't give a grade.
Oh, I'm gonna give it an A. I'm gonna give it an A on a Friday night. I think that we're gonna get some good hockey tonight. Especially, I hope it's not a blowout. I'll take a blowout in Boston's favor, but I'd like a good game out of Florida, Boston. They've all been pretty good games. It's just been a whole shit show. Marchand coming back is going to give them some juice, et cetera, et cetera. I'll take it. I give it an A. Let's do Bauer rankings presented by Bauer, where we discuss just things that are looking up, looking down, whatever they may be. Sean, do you have any Bauer rankings for us?
I mean, it's nothing crazy, but the NCAA football games, we know that they're happening, which Pete has been saying this whole time that he was worried it wasn't going to happen.
I didn't say it was. I didn't.
You were. You said you were worried it wasn't going to happen.
I didn't. I never said that I was worried that it wasn't going to happen. I said I was worried that we hadn't seen any of the game and that they'd kept it so under wraps.
So you were worried it was going to be like a retread.
I was worried, and I still lightly am worried that it was going to be sloppily thrown together, or that they were hiding the fact that gameplay wasn't where they wanted it to be.
Fair enough.
I was worried that there was no proof of concept yet.
Fair enough. But we got a trailer. We have a date. So NCAA Football 25 is real, and it is happening. And
it is.
I don't think I've ever in my entire life been more excited about a video game.
Maybe Grand Theft Auto.
When GTA 6 comes out, I might be there. I wasn't really into GTA as much when GTA 5 came out, so I didn't feel it then. Okay. And I was pretty young, so I don't think I was even allowed to play it. But
GTA and Red Dead, I think, are like the two that top this, but it's top 3 for me. Huh?
Never played Red Dead.
Never played Red Dead? Yeah. Fuck, man. Red Dead 2 is one of the best games of all time. I will say, stonks up for me on College Football 25. I have officially placed my pre-order after seeing the reveal trailer.
I
placed my pre-order this morning. Obviously, we haven't seen a lot of true gameplay yet. That was mostly like a visual and presentation trailer, but the visuals and presentation look fucking incredible, and I have hope. I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm choosing to be optimistic. I've placed my pre-order.
I've got a stonk up on Cameron Diaz. Netflix has released photos from the upcoming film Back in Action, starring Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx. It is Diaz's first film in 10 years. Sean, do you know who Cameron Diaz is?
Yes, I know who Cameron Diaz is.
I thought it was possible that maybe you wouldn't know who Cameron Diaz was.
Big Shrek guy.
Oh,
That's not how I know her, but I know.
Cameron Diaz? Is Shrek?
She Fiona?
Yeah.
Fiona?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm almost positive.
I don't know who Fiona is, so maybe it is. She's not Donkey.
Have you never seen Shrek?
I've seen Shrek. I haven't
You
seen
don't
any
know
of
who
the.
You don't
Fiona
know
is.
who the
Fiona
voice
is
actor is.
the love interest.
Yeah, no, I said I know who Fiona
Oh, I thought you
is.
said,
I meant like I
don't
don't know who the voice is.
Oh, gotcha.
Is that Cameron Diaz? So I know Cameron Diaz for something about Mary, Head Above Water, The Mask.
Mm-hmm.
Cameron Diaz in The Mask I argued, was the hottest a person has ever been in a movie. And then The Hangover came out, and I was like, Bradley Cooper looks really good in this.
Can confirm.
Yeah, did a numbers crunch. Cameron Diaz is Princess Fiona.
Okay, very nice. You've got some ups and downs. What you got?
Yeah, I got stonks up on, hey, this is hockey. Maybe you should watch blank, insert a sport, because that is a huge fan behavior during the playoffs. Is people tune in and watch hockey, and everybody's on high emotions. And anytime somebody takes issue with like a hit or anything like that, there's always the mob of people that say, hey, this is hockey. Why don't you go watch tennis? Why don't you go watch soccer? Maybe you'd have a better time doing that. Just a lot of hockey fans telling people to watch other sports because they think they enjoy those more.
That dialogue was noticeably absent after the Bennett Marchand thing.
Interesting.
That's true.
I've got stonks up, unfortunately, on people caring or dunking on ESPN series predictions. That's the thing.
Ugh.
And that was, Sean, did you get the ones I sent to you? I sent you a couple of Canucks fans screen grabbing, crossing out all the ones that were wrong. So I guess that's not happening. They're not fucking staking their reputations on it. It's a thing. It's a fucking thing in their mailbox they got to fill out and then put back in the mail.
Please send this one line back to me.
Hey, what do you think? We're not really in the prediction business. No one really cares about, like, I've got it in this many. Like, no one fucking cares. So congratulations, Emily Kaplan picked the wrong number of games the series would go. I guess you fucking showed her. There's only 2 teams playing.
She's going to get fired.
They got to pick one team. They got to pick how many games. We don't fucking know how long the series are going. We don't. Shut up.
If you could predict the fucking outcome from the outset, there would be no point in watching the series. Like, you should be rooting for the unpredictability of things. And nobody has ever gotten fired because they've gotten a pre-series prediction
What are you
wrong.
going to do? Kaplan has gotten 2 series wrong now.
Also, the series isn't over. Like, who gives a shit if they got the number of games wrong?
Right.
If they win the thing.
Such weird behavior. Like, if you're a fan and you think that somebody had a bad and completely wrong take and prediction on the way that your favorite team would perform, go ahead, screenshot like the actual analysis or whatever, but don't fucking screenshot a series prediction that's like 3 words, Bruins in 6, Bruins in 6. That shit is the most terrible fan behavior.
If you want to screen grab a lead that's like, if Artur Shilovs looks tired at any point in the series, it's probably because he's up all night having nightmares about Connor McDavid. Mm-hmm. Like, you want to screen grab that and be like, where's the fucking Connor McDavid games on Artur Shilovs? Boom. Capitals in 5. Or like, just like fuck Stars in 4. It's just a quick little fucking thing that they don't care about, and none of us fucking care about.
That was my thing. I think if you're a fan and everyone was doubting your team, like, take your victory lap, whatever. But, like, they don't give a shit. Like, Emily Kaplan doesn't care if she got.
She doesn't know what she picked in the series, and Emily Kaplan is fucking sharp.
And, like, if you're trying to dunk on her and she sees it, she's like, "Oh yeah, I got it wrong." It's not gonna affect. It's not gonna like change her day.
Oh yeah, the worst question that I get asked by like sports fans on the street or whatever is like,
who you got in the series?
What do you think tonight? Yeah. And I'm like, I'm gonna watch.
Yeah.
And I don't know well enough.
I fucking hate that question so much, and I know that it's very hard to like blame anybody for asking it, but I hate that question more than anything. Is like, who you like this year, or like who you got in the series, who you got tonight. And
we'll make predictions, but we don't take them like like I got a feeling this is gonna happen or whatever. A principle of Felger's that I agree with is he has no time for callers what he calls blehing him, which is like the no, so what do you think of the Patriots now? You thought they were going to lose that game, but they won. Like, yeah, sweet. The other thing happened. We do a show every day. We think about a million fucking things. We're going to be wrong about them. I don't think that any of us are staking our reputations. Like, I have a good feeling about the Bruins tonight. The Panthers fucking win. If the better team wins this game, I'm not going to be too worked up. Although we should do some fake screen grabs of like our predictions.
What we should do is we should do predictions for next round, and if you get them wrong, you're suspended and you don't get to show up for the show. The other person has to do the show solo.
Trouble.
Yeah,
they're just like
you're going to jail.
Give
Scotty
stuff
Streffler.
to like
call Jeff Darlington because DJ's going to jail.
What
He
is
got
it? Like the
wrong.
Barrett Sports Media.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, got a scoop for you. Pete's not coming in this week. He had Bruins in 7. They lost in 7. Yeah, big trouble.
Finally, stonks down on my Twitter because first controversial tweet in a while last night.
Oh, I didn't like it. Yeah,
the crying kid at the Carolina Hurricanes game. Listen, I tweeted it with I tweeted the screenshot from the broadcast of the crying kid at the Carolina Hurricanes game alongside the Carolina Hurricanes cry shirts that they were selling after round 1 with the New York Islanders. A lot of people took offense to it, and I get it. I understand. It's distasteful. It's not good behavior, but I'm a believer of like, hey, if they show it on the broadcast, it's fucking out there. And also I'm a believer in funny's funny, no matter how distasteful or dark it is. In an ideal world, I would say show a crying adult, please, so I can screenshot that and put it next to the cry thing. But I didn't see any crying adults, just a crying child. Had to take what I was given.
Yeah, but before you tweeted that, I had like a conversation with myself over the ethics of TNT showing that crying kid. I was like, there's 2 very obvious jokes that can be made right now. That one, a Chris Kreider joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the TNT is setting up Twitter, someone horrible to be an asshole to this kid.
Yeah, right.
And then like I checked Twitter 5 minutes later, and it's Pete.
And that's what I
said. I was like, you were like, was this
somebody was going to do it?
Is this too bad? Should I take it down? Like, I wouldn't have done it, but someone was going to do that, and I do blame TNT more. And maybe that's just because I want to let you off the hook, but I think it's more on TNT. Sean, you seem to have thoughts.
I just like, I don't know. I don't want to be an asshole, but like, I don't really care. Kid was in public, crying in public. Like,
That's it. Like, so it's not illegal for them to show the kid.
It's just like,
and I like the broadcast showing crying kids. It's more like the internet that kind of sucks. Like the place that, once it's out there, the internet is going to take it. It's going to run with it. Like the Bruins have a crying kid that's been in circulation for years at this point.
Yep.
It is what it is. In an ideal world, like I want to see the crying people in the stands when their team loses because it highlights the emotional highs and emotional lows of being a sports fan. And like by screenshotting that, I'm genuinely not trying to make fun of the kid. I'm really not. It's more like, welcome to sports fandom. Like, welcome, buddy. Come on in. This is what it's all about. But for me, like the attention of last night's thing was like the more of the irony and it coming full circle for the Hurricanes in putting out the cry shirts.
Bullying and mansplaining. Get a man you could get you a man who could do both. We do have some quick behavior check-ins. Thank you to Bauer for sponsoring Bauer Rankins. We love you so much. But let's check in on some behavior. The Rangers played Raise Up after eliminating the Hurricanes last night. That's the Petey Pablo song, North Carolina. Come on, obviously a big Hurricane song. I generally think it's kind of corny when teams do shit like that. Shocker, Sean loves it. Like the Red Sox did it, the New York
one
thing.
of my favorite moments of that entire
that was
season.
great.
I was like,
well,
cool, you fucking losers.
But there's the
Aaron
context
Judge
of it,
did it
because Aaron
first.
Judge did it first.
Right.
Aaron
He
Judge
played
walked
New York,
through Fenway
in
Park in the
Fenway.
concourse with the boombox.
Yes, but I still...
Go fuck yourself, Aaron Judge.
I just thought it was kind of obvious. But yeah, if you're doing it back to somebody, then that's your right. They swung first. If you want a J. Cole, I'll respect that. But if you want to swing back, you're within your rights.
Yeah, I mean, he brought New York into Fenway Park, so it's great behavior by the Red Sox to play it.
When it comes to sports, I'm a firm believer in, like, if you're gonna make something your thing, you need to be prepared for it to get used against you.
100%.
And like that's why when Texas fans cry about the horns down, it's the softest thing in all of sports. As someone who's been a Texas fan my entire life, like, we're cool because we have a cool hand signal. Of course, it's gonna get thrown against you. That's just is what it is. Oklahoma doesn't have a hand signal. I just like, you lost. If you don't want them to happen, try winning hockey games.
I agree. I think it's good behavior. I think it's mean, but guess what? Sports better with meanness in it, especially hockey. Better with
everyone's trying to hurt each other.
You know what's mean? Yeah, I was gonna say. You know what's mean? Hitting people.
Yeah.
Which they do for fun. It's
good theater
in the game.
Love the behavior.
That
also means beating them.
I got to hand out an A to Rangers fans because they're mean all the time, so you might as well give them an A. But they're probably the meanest fans I've ever seen, maybe in anything. Just generally a horrible group of people, with the exception of Chris Bayo and a few other people. But I loved their behavior.
I didn't realize he had such like vitriol towards Rangers.
Yeah.
I don't have vitriol towards them.
You just call them horrible people with
I
one person.
I think they are so like mean and
They're
nasty.
New Yorkers.
Yeah,
like
Yankees
a lot of
fans
them
aren't like that.
Oh
my
brother!
God.
Yankees fans a take.
Yankees fans are some of the worst
They
people
are
in the world.
the
Yankees
worst
fans
fans
are a
in
little
sports.
arrogant, but I get some like actual like I feel hatred coming off of Rangers fans.
It's because they're hockey fans.
I don't feel like real like I don't want to get like dramatic and use like the T word, but like they're like
Triggered?
toxicity.
Oh, I thought I didn't. I had a different T word.
What T word did you have?
Like terrorist. I was like, what are you? I thought you were being dramatic.
Sean, do I need to give you an American history
The
thing on
Dublin
New
portal
York?
all over again.
I don't like painting any fan base with a broad brush unless it's the Carolina Hurricanes.
I was gonna
because
say
the Carolina Hurricanes are all psychopaths.
Well,
and it's like psychopaths endearing for the most part.
And also the Canucks, I feel like, have established themselves as being pretty bad.
No.
As a
I
fan
don't want to like
yes,
get
but-
on. And I said I like some Rangers fans, and I also don't want to do like the they're all bad thing. And I hope that I wasn't saying
So they're all bad except one.
I said with the exception of Chris Bayo, but like I would love that energy. So I have like Yankee fan friends who are more like Bayo, where they're just like, hey, I don't want to hear any negative shit said about my team. I like if national media wants to rip them or whatever, like I got no time for that. Like there are podcasts I can listen to where people are positive about it. That's all. Like if that's how you support your team, I love that. And I'm not saying that's how Bayo does it, but like that's how a lot of Yankee fans I know do it. Rangers fans, I think, kind of like sharpen the knives at all times. And even when they're good, like you guys won the President's Trophy this year, and I still got some animosity coming off them.
I think that the Rangers fans have been waiting a long time to be obnoxious and be annoying. And they finally have the opportunity. And I don't necessarily blame them for it. Like they're in the middle of an incredible Stanley Cup run. So I didn't have much of an issue with Rangers fans. I think that they're obnoxious.
Yeah.
They should be. Every fan base is
I
kind of
love New York
obnoxious,
fans.
especially this time of year. But as far as the did we get to the "We Want Boston" chant?
Yeah, so that's what I'm like. I loved that out of them. When you win, you got to just chant that you want to play a team that is worse than the other team. So shout out Rangers fans being like, yeah, we want Boston. And Megan Kelly for the tweet of the night, quote tweeting it with, bro, of course you do. Our top line center is Morgan Geekie.
That's the only reason why I'm giving this an A-, because like if you're gonna do the "We Want blank" chant, you have to pick the better team.
No, you pick the easy
You
one.
have to
I
pick
mean, no,
the better
you want
team.
the easy one. No, good, real, honest. That's the same thing that Brad Marchand did yesterday. He was honest. You may not like the honesty. It may make you feel some kind of way, but it is good behavior to say, "Oh, I'll do the one where we win."
I mean, like the
Bruins
obvious
tanks
one.
like get the Leafs. That was good behavior, I thought.
But they aren't doing it because the Bruins are worse, though. Like that's not why they're saying they just would rather play the Bruins. Like that's more fun.
I think it's a little bit.
know, Sean.
I think
Yeah,
it's-
no one gives a fuck about
I think
the
it's
Panthers.
a little bit of original six supremacy.
And it's like it's the Knicks Celtics are happening, like most likely.
The reason why I say A- is that I think that if you are if you're doing that, if you're doing the we want blank thing, it's because you're stating that you're so confident that you want the best possible opponent because you believe in your team so much. And so if that was the case, I think the chant would be, we want Florida, because we think the Rangers are so fucking good that it doesn't matter who you put up against them. They're going to win.
Yeah.
By picking the worst team, the clear worst team, I think that's A- behavior.
Yeah, I will say it's weird. It's a weird move to do it like that.
I just like being real.
I don't think they're doing it because they want to play the worst team. But regardless of why you're doing it, to do it for any team other than the best team is weird behavior.
I think it's a New York Boston thing.
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
They want the Bostonians.
I don't think it's anything other than that.
Yeah, they want to kick Boston's ass.
Do you guys want the double New York Boston thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be
I
fun.
mean, obviously.
I just don't really.
Boston's in both.
I mean, I don't really care all that much. I don't like, so it'd just be fun. Obviously, I don't want the Bruins to really see any kind of success. So
last time the Bruins played the Rangers in the playoffs, I think this was the last time, would have been 2013, and the Bruins won in 5 games. But there was a very funny goal where Tuukka Rask just fell on his butt, and it was shortly after the butt fumble. And my coworker at the time, Mike Petralia, tried to coin the term butt stumble. It didn't really catch on, but it was the most exciting part of that series. Kelly Krug scored a bunch of goals too.
Let me ask you this. I know you hate the Bruins, but from like a semi-neutral point of view, what are you rooting for? Bruins, Rangers, Panthers, which is probably a better series. Like there's probably more juice in that in terms of a hockey perspective. Or Rangers, Bruins, which has a little bit more juice from a fan base and like, you know, kind of just
I think
narrative standpoint.
If you are guaranteeing me that the Bruins don't win the next round, then I'd rather have the Bruins. Like I said, I don't want to see the Bruins win, and obviously if they're in the next round, just means they have a higher chance of winning the Stanley Cup, which I don't want to see. But if just from game 1 through 7, not thinking about who's winning it, it'd be like I love Rangers fans. Like I love New York sports fans, other than the Yankees, because I hate the Yankees. Like I think they just have a lot of fun whenever they have any kind of success. And like the fuck Trey Young thing that happened 2 years ago.
I like Knicks fans.
Yeah,
Knicks fans are like,
Knicks
fans are great.
Have you ever been to a Knicks game?
No,
but that's
it's
also
awesome.
I think Knicks fans are great because the Knicks haven't won in a long time.
Yeah, I think it's like kind of the same for the
like
Rangers.
there is some self-awareness when it comes to Knicks fans. If the Knicks like end up winning, they're going to be horrible. The fans, they're going to be horrible.
Yeah,
the Knicks have been so irrelevant for such a long time that like I would consider myself a diehard Boston Celtics fan, and I kind of like the Knicks. That should not happen.
I mean, I think the Knicks are it's better. The sport's better when they're good type of team, where it's just like I don't even. The same with the Bruins. Like I obviously don't want the Bruins to be good, but it's more fun when they are. I feel like it is my responsibility, getting back to the worst fan in sport conversation. Like we have to bring up Boston fans because
someone in the chat said that
most people outside of Boston, I think, would default to Boston fans being the worst fans in sports.
So Patriots, and I'm not trying to make any enemies of fan bases. Like obviously there's good and there's bad. Like there have been Predators fans that have been horrible to me before. I don't think they have terrible fans.
I think it's also,
but I'll defend Bruins fans. They're fans, so they're going to be illogical. Most fan bases are. I've never really, and it could be Stockholm Syndrome, but I've never really seen Bruins fans outside of like, there was like a guy who like tweeted like racist shit after Joel Ward scored. I'm not talking about that, but like I've never seen like as a pack, Bruins fans be like particularly horrible. Patriots fans,
sure they
I
have.
think are, when I say horrible, I don't mean like bad, evil people or whatever, just like stupid, delusional, crazy, annoying. Like Bruins fans to me aren't really that.
I've
especially
said
this year.
times.
I think there's a level of self-awareness amongst Bruins fans where there's a lot of we're just happy to be
We're
here.
house money people.
It's tough for me because I went from really not being around Bruins fans at all to being deep around Bruins fans. So it just kind of, I've gotten flooded with Bruins content throughout this playoffs. I have said multiple times, Bruins fans have been unbearable to me on social media. I think they've been.
Well, you've also been unbearable to them. That's
but I've been unbearable about them being unbearable. Like all of my tweets about the Bruins basically have been Bruins fans are being stupid about this thing that just happened.
Am I rubbing off on Sean? Is he like doing preemptive, like, hey, it's okay if I'm going to be a psycho right now. It's just that I know they're going to do this, so I'm reacting to their reaction before they can fucking have it, and everyone's like, just fucking be normal.
I mean, I feel like I haven't had time to like predict the reaction because as soon as anything happens, it's like the federal government is trying to keep the Boston Bruins from having any kind of success.
They might be, Sean. You don't know.
Your relationship with Bruins fans, to me, has like a tinge of self-fulfilling prophecy, where you're like, these guys are the fucking worst, and so they end up being the fucking worst to you.
I mean, it's also been like, I would say the most controversial things that have happened in these playoffs have been around the Bruins, and so naturally, there's going to be like the most ridiculous discourse is going to happen around the most ridiculous things, and so. A lot of ridiculous stuff has been coming from Bruins fans.
Chad asks, who does the guy off screen cheer for?
I'm a Buffalo Sabres fan. Yeah.
Which shows to why he's so upset.
I don't think I've ever tried to hide that. Like, it is not. I hate the Bruins because
you're off screen. You're
Sabres
literally
fan.
hiding.
Yeah, fair enough.
Coward.
I don't think I've ever tried to hide that as I'm wearing a Chicago Blackhawks hoodie. Like, I hate the Bruins because I am a Sabres fan, and I don't like Boston sports fans. Like, I think naturally. It's a city that's had a lot of sports success throughout my life. And so if I'm not actively a fan for one of the teams like I am the Red Sox.
You can't blame Sean for being angry. His two favorite teams are the Arizona Coyotes, who no longer exist, and the Buffalo Sabres, who should no longer exist.
I also will say, like something I was going to say earlier is, I think a product of it being such a big team with such a big fan base is you're going to see more people be annoying. Like the Bills.
Yeah, like that's
we don't have on a national perspective, we don't have that many fans. Yeah, Leafs fans too.
Leafs fans have the largest number of psychotic, problematic, toxic, just awful fans. But they also have the biggest fan base in all of hockey, and they have the Leafs have a ton of fans that I absolutely love.
Yeah,
have great self-awareness.
Yeah, I mean every fan base.
Shut up, Bieber.
People that you like a lot. Kid on the way, Justin Bieber.
Oh, really?
Yeah, congratulations.
Mazel tov.
Last week, him and Haley Bieber. But I am, I'm a massive hater. I don't think my hatred for the Toronto Maple Leafs came off as much as it would have had they been playing anybody else. Because, like, that's one thing that Bruins fans certainly don't do is, like, Maple Leaf fans take over Sabres games, and I fucking hate it. And that's a product of the Sabres not being great, but
so you mentioned Boston sports fans and them, and just like they've had so much success, so automatically they're going to be annoying. Yesterday we were on Felger and Maz, and that's Boston's number one radio show in the country. Big thing. Everyone loves it. I don't know if they love it, but everyone listens to it. Yeah. Everyone listens to it. The segment after we were on, they do a weekly segment called Maz's Tears, where they play No More Tears by Ozzy Osbourne. Jim Murray sings Maz's Tears, and he puts things in tears. And it used to be like best quarterbacks or best what, and just it's devolved into ridiculous topics. After the Celtics dispatched the Cavaliers in 5 games, yesterday's topic was most useless playoff rounds of the last 20 years in Boston, which that makes your argument that Boston's number one sports show did like 10 minutes with a bunch of production on how many of these games, most of which were like they won. They were talking about like World Series. 2007 World Series. Useless. The Rockies sucked in that series.
I mean,
what a waste.
That's just the truth. Yeah.
I agree.
No, like
as soon as that series started, like game 1, you're like, oh, this is over. This is a joke.
Yeah. So, but that's what they were talking about. And a lot of fan bases, the number one moment in their entire sports life would be Dante Hightower strip sacking Matt Ryan. Not even on like the top 100 moments for Boston sports fans. So I get why. And shout out Jim Murray, who's kind of the voice of reason on that show, because as they were going through it, like the Bruins sweeping the Penguins, useless, boring series, 4 games, whatever. And Murray being like, people are strangling things as they are listening to this because they would kill for any of these moments.
Meanwhile, in Buffalo, we're debating about which one of our indoor lacrosse championships was the most impressive.
Well, we do have Mike Felger to thank because he gave us a nice little promo at the end of our appearance with him. Sean, do you have that? I sent it to you.
Oh, wait.
Felger put together an incredible promo, and you'll hear it in a
does
second,
it just off the dome, just from the heart.
My favorite part of it is that I think that he believes that not having commercials is a detriment to a program like a podcast.
You got it, Sean?
If you want to listen to guys prattle on endlessly as if there were no commercial breaks about the Western Conference, you want to listen to the What Chaos podcast, okay? Jokes and chit-chat and Western Conference hockey without commercials and just endless chit-chat. What Chaos podcast, wherever you can find podcasts, right, guys?
Okay. So that's amazing. He was very mad every time we talked about the Western Conference, which only made us want to talk about the Western Conference. But we were on our best behavior. I think that it was all generally well received. Talk about your issue with the commercial thing.
I mean, it's just, does he think that people tune in to his program for the commercials? Does he think that a program that has commercials is automatically superior to a program that does not have commercials?
Ad reads are not commercials.
They're not.
They're not fighting
so
that immediately.
What he's getting at, I believe, is the clock. That show has a clock because you have to get to commercials. I think it took me like until this morning to realize that maybe that's what he was saying, where like
guy loves structure.
They have commercials. You can't talk about this thing because we have commercials coming up. But for the second straight week, they have just invented things that we were doing that we were not doing. Like, we didn't extend segments. We didn't do like, hey, we're going to get this in there sort of thing. They asked questions. We answered them. But after, so Maz asked us during the break, like, hey, how long does your show go? Do you have commercials and everything? After we left, Maz brought that up. He was like, I even asked them, don't you have commercials? And I was like, that's not how you said it. It's a little bitchy behavior out of those guys, but the relationship continues. We'll be on with them again next week.
I love that we've been on 3 straight weeks. They absolutely have no idea what our show is. Still,
they're still very confused.
They have no idea what the show is or what we do.
Murray does.
Yeah, but Murray's a human being.
Love
the other
Jim
two
Murray.
are just aliens.
They are fascinating humans. Love them both. And
I do like Maz. Maz tends to have a like a genuine intrigue. Like, he asks you a question and he really like is interested in the answer. Felger's like, so you don't have fucking commercials, right?
The Felger is the same person on and off the air,
100%,
which sucks. Maz
I love
is
it.
no, it sucks for human communication, but I love him because we're different types of weirdos. But he's for sure a weirdo, so I do feel some kinship with him because he's fucking weird.
Well, somebody said that like you are the son that he has never had or something. Like, I don't know if he has a son or whatever.
We've been like work father and son forever.
There is like a relationship there where it's, if somebody doesn't know that you have an existing relationship, like, oh, he hates that guy. Yeah. But it's not true at all. He loves you.
It's a weird thing. Sometimes I hate him, and I'm sure that sometimes he hates me, but I think that if we're on Truth Serum, we just have a fucking thing.
Affinity for each other. Yeah.
It's really weird. But Maz off the air, and that's not to say that he's like a phony on the air, but like Maz off the air is like just like a very nice, sweet
man.
guy.
Yeah.
He's very, very sweet. Like him a lot. We're doing power rankings though. Murray 1, Jay Stu 2. Jimmy Stewart loves us.
Jimmy Stewart loves just living.
He's in our ear the whole show, being like, "Fuck with him."
It is very funny because I always sit in the producer's booth, I guess.
Yeah.
And I never know when he's talking to like on the show or just like whispering something to somebody. So I'll hear him like say something to Felger real quick or to one of you guys, and it is very funny from my perspective.
Jay Stu is a fascinating guy. I love him.
He's awesome. I think Sean and Jay Stu, I think, would get along just because they're wrestling boys.
Thick as thieves, those two.
Yeah.
I feel like he might be too into wrestling for me though. Like, he is a wrestling guy, and I feel like I would have a little bit of an imposter syndrome because I'm a little newer to it.
But I don't think that he would. I don't think he would like judge you.
That's fair.
Or like be like condescending or anything like that.
He has been very, very nice.
He would shepherd you for sure.
Yes.
So. All right. Well, shout out those folks, and shout out all of you. We've got an exciting night of hockey ahead of us. I'm very excited for it. Very excited for Pete. Pete, I hope you have the best time. This would be such a good win to see IRL.
Yeah, 100%. And as a send-off, can we please spike the vibes by spiking the likes?
I don't want you to have like the best time. It's kind of like when a player you really like is on a team you hate. I hope you have a really good game and you lose.
Thanks.
I hope you.
I don't know
enjoy
how
yourself.
that's going to happen.
I hope you enjoy yourself
lose,
until
I'm
the
going
end.
to have a really bad time. But I appreciate the sort of thought behind that. One like for every good vibe that I will carry into the arena tonight for Game 6. Please hit that like button. It is the thumbs up icon right below the video player. I would very much appreciate getting that number as high as we can. I would also appreciate anybody who is not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel. Please do that now. We would love you forever. If you didn't even like the fucking episode, you don't have to watch it again. Just hit the subscribe button and let us exist in your subscribe channels. You don't have to click on any of the videos. Just fucking give us a subscription. We're begging you.
When you subscribe to channels, it like doesn't do anything.
Does nothing.
Like
Nothing.
if you open up YouTube, it doesn't like feed you your subscriptions off rip.
It
which might be a little bit of a
nothing
design
to you,
flaw,
and it means everything to us. Just hit the fucking subscription button, please.
It's literally right there. If you're not doing it at this point, you're kind of just a hater, if I'm being honest.
That's right. And that's coming from the world's biggest hater.
I know a hater when I see one.
All right. We will see you all on Monday unless a game goes into overtime, and then we will see you on the YouTube.
Wait, what about tonight? What happens if tonight goes over?
I'm not live streaming from TD Garden.
Oh, that's true. We can't do it tonight. Yeah.
Are you gonna be out too?
I'm gonna be out.
I'll do it one by myself.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Sean's
please,
overtime
Sean solo stream.
in which if the Bruins lose, it's just Sean cackling and then sending himself into the car.
I won't end it.
Invite
early.
whoever you want. Just make it a party.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll do it with Petey. See what he's doing.
Oh.
absolutely.
No, like don't make it good.
The keys are yours. Do whatever you want with it.
We'll see.
All right, friends. We'll talk to you on. Oh, so much can happen between now and Monday. But we'll talk to you at some point. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.